Welcome to this interview series. Today, then we start with Damian. I am very happy to have you here with me. You are an amazing peri-steam Yoni steaming hydrotherapist. You also Ayurvedic wellness coach and an Essence of Belly Dance teacher. So I am very happy to have you here today. How are you?
Hi, Madeleine. Thanks for having me. I'm super grateful to be here with you. I actually really passed yesterday my exam for Ayurveda, so and the next one is belly dance.
Wow!
So yeah,
Congratulations! I did not know
thank
this.
you. Yeah, I did it like spontaneously. I just did it yesterday, and it was good.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That is amazing.
yeah.
We have
Good.
to we have to celebrate that whenever we see each other in Berlin for the retraining.
Yes, let's do that. Yeah, so thank you for having me. And if you want, we can just
So, all right.
talk about steaming.
That's why we're here today. Um, I I remember we talked during the Essence of Belly Dance teacher training. Okay, you want to say hi?
Hello.
And we both found out that we both already do Yoni steaming, and you actually brought me closer to the training. So I'm very excited, but not everyone knows what is a Yoni steaming. So tell me a little bit, how did you find Yoni steaming? What was your journey with it?
Yeah, so actually, the first time I did it was when I was 16 and I had a bladder infection.
Mhm.
And my grandmother, you also have to know I come from Romania, from a very rural area, from a village where I grew up. And there, my grandmother was like the family doctor.
Mhm.
she or she had like each herb was good for some aches you had, and it always functioned. Unless it was like something very serious, then you did went to the doctor. But it was like a long ride with the car and everything, so it was a little bit complicated. So I learned a lot from her, and I'm very grateful to her for all that she taught me. And that was my first experience, and I never had any bladder infections since then. So it was once I did it, and that was it. And it's like so good because so many women suffer from recurrent bladder infections nowadays. And if you had it once, it's likely it comes back. So that's why it's always like recurrent and complicated. But steaming also helps with that, definitely. So that was my first experience with steaming. And then I just like forgot about it. Teenagers don't interest, stuff like that. So it was like in the background, but it was there. And later on, I experienced like infections, yeast infection, and bacterial infections. And I tried it by myself, but I was doing it too long, and it was always like from this place of, oh, I have to do this to get rid of this. And it was not coming from a place of self-love or self-care. And was doing it too long, and it was like too hot, everything. So it didn't function. So I just thought, okay, I'm done with that. It doesn't function well. And then this last year I was doing the Ayurveda coaching, and there we had a lecture from Dr. Jale Boyd Phillips, who is also a peri-steam hydrotherapist. And she told us about how steaming can help with almost every gynecological issue. But you do need to have the right setup, the right herbs, and also not with infections, less is more. So because of the heat factor. So she told us about the peristeam hydrotherapist from Kelly Garza. She's better known as Steamy Chick. Her company's name is Steamy Chick, exactly. And I just was so interested in this, and I just started the course she offers on her website. And yeah, that's how I got into this theme, and it was so exciting, and it helped me with the infections. So I also had very bad menstrual cramps, like since I had my period. It was like every month. Yeah, very, very bad. So that was like what convinced me to go this path and also offer steaming to other women, because I steamed with my plan and with my individual herbs. And after 3 months, I had my first cycle, my first menstruation without any cramps. And until today, like half year later, I'm always like surprised that there are no cramps and no bad feelings around my menstruation anymore. So I'm so grateful for that, and that's why I want to share it with everybody. And it's like such a good thing to do for yourself, and you can do it for yourself. That's the best thing. You don't have to go to see any doctor. You can do it on your own at home. So especially nowadays with the pandemic, it's a great tool to have as a woman, but also as a man. Actually, for men, it's also beneficial, but you know, men are still not that interested in self-care unless it's like very bad. They go to the doctor, but unless there's nothing, like just a little bit of symptoms, they are not into self.
Yeah, and then also especially when you tell a man what you do as a Yoni steaming hydrotherapist, they laugh about it. When you say, "Oh, men can do it too," they're like, "Yeah, ain't no way
Right.
I'm gonna sit with naked on a pot of hot water." It's like really this feminine thing, even though it's so good for men because it really helps with hemorrhoids, and also if there's their pH level, so to say, is disrupted, because
Yes.
even though the punani is more prone to infections than a phallus, still they can carry infections with them and don't even know it. So
Exactly. Yeah, that's also like a very good thing to consider when treating infections, that also the male partner could have it and they don't have symptoms, and then they just give it back. It's like, yeah. So yeah, that's also very important to consider. Yeah, and also just for relaxation and also fertility challenges, both women and men. So yeah, it's a great tool. I actually prepared like a setup to show.
yeah, you can turn a little bit the camera.
Yeah.
So, yeah, perfect. So, I mean, of course, I know what you prepared, but can you tell us a little bit more how a steaming session at home could look like?
So you just prepare, like you would prepare a tea for yourself to drink. You prepare a tea, but just with more water, like 1 liter of water and herbs. And then you can use like this pot. I have this one. Or you can also use a normal cooking pot, stainless steel. Or this one. It's also good. Just make sure this one is lead free, so you can also cook with it. If you can cook with it, then it's okay. You can use it.
It's important that it's not plastic, because if it's plastic and you hear
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. No plastic, no aluminum. Just things you also cook in and eat. Yeah. So you prepare your tea. You let it sit with a lid on. I have like a big lid for just for this one. So, and then 10-15 minutes later, you can just squat over it, or you can use a steam stool or a sauna. especially designed for it. And then you just put it under. And then you can like sit on it, and you can cover yourself with a nice
blanket. Yes, because especially in the winter when it's a little cold, it's very soothing to have a blanket covering around you because it gives you.
Exactly. And wall socks also. Yeah.
Yes.
You can also, I also have like this beautiful thing for summertime. You just put it on and enjoy it. So I hope you can imagine how that goes.
And that's the important part of it, that you really enjoy it, that you don't feel like it's a must or, oh, I have to do this because I want to get rid.
Exactly. That's very, very important, because if you do it from a place of, oh, I have to do it, then it's not going to work, or it will, but not that well. So I really encourage people to think about why they are doing it, and if you can do it from a place of self-love, it's so much more effective, like, and also so relaxing, and you really enjoy it. And it's like your ritual, your self-care ritual, your time for yourself, and you relax. And if you relax, the body just can do its work. So it's super helpful, yeah.
And it also can help you to discover your femininity and get more in touch with your feminine and sensual side in a very self-loving way. You're actually building a deeper relationship with your body because you pay more attention to how it feels, and it's an amazing opportunity to really dive into your body, because often we're so much in our brain. We think we're under stress, and doing a steaming can really bring you back to your feminine roots, to your feminine essence.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also how I felt it, because like I always had male friends when I was young, and I had like just one best girl friend, and then all the others were males, and I always felt comfortable with them. But also I felt like I had like more this male energy, which I still have, but I do balance it now with my feminine. So steaming is like such a nice way to connect to your femininity, because you feel the steam on your punani, and it's just so sensual and smooth, and especially if you have like, if you had numbness in there, or you can't imagine your punani, or also your uterus, like, yes, everything. It's a very nice way to start the connection with your organs. So
Yes, and also
I would definitely
you go.
I would definitely recommend it, yeah, as a starting point. Yeah.
What I've noticed is when you see, like when you feel how good it feels, and then when you also see the benefits of it, when you, it's like your punani is really coming to life. You get back this connection. It's this, it's it's almost like when you belly dance, but in a different way. You just feel,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have a sense of exactly how your punani feels inside and outside of, in a completely non-sexual way. It's just you feel it like your arm or your hands, whereas before it might have been just this, as you said, numb area.
Mm. Yeah, it's, I always like the feeling after is so fresh, like it's so fresh, and everything is um, lubricated and free. It's like a feeling of liberation. I don't know. Nowadays, I always do like a small dance afterward. At the beginning, I was just laying down, which is also nice because you get to relax and feel into the organ.
Mm-hmm.
But now I am more like, oh, just want to dance afterward, and it feels so free and so nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It really feels like your punani is this rose, and then all of a sudden she's unfolding and coming into her bloom, and then
Yeah, exactly.
even stiffness goes away. So that's why you feel this little urge to dance, and you can even notice, oh wow, uh, it's all smooth. My pelvis moves nicely. My hips.
Yeah,
It's just very, because it's so relaxed. Because as women, we hold so much tension in our,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah, it's an organ. It's an organ that absorbs everything, and it makes so much sense that steaming helps with relaxation because it absorbs the warmth and the herbs and um, all the blood vessels, tissue we have there, ligaments, glands. They all relax. Yeah, so it makes it does make sense that, that steaming helps with relaxation, yeah, and softness.
yes, yes.
That's why it's also used in labor preparation and in postpartum. Yeah.
So you've pointed a really beautiful point out there with the labor preparation and the postpartum, because steaming can help with a lot of things, a lot of issues that we as women may come across. So, what would you say to someone if someone comes to you and is like, "Oh, but I could just order herbs from the internet. Why is it important for me to get a consultation?" What would you say to these?
Yes, right. So first of all, if you don't have like serious issues or pathologies like cysts, endometriosis, and your cycle is regular and you don't have infections. So if you just want to do it like for regular preventive health,
Mm-hmm.
you can try that out. You can also just steam with water. That's also beneficial. Only the steam is already beneficial from the water. Or you can use a little bit of salt in the water and just steam for yourself and not longer than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, if you have never done it before and you do have issues you want to address, I would consult a practitioner because each herb has a certain quality. There are hemostatic herbs to stop the blood or the bleeding. There are um, herbs which promote circulation. So if you have short cycles, I would definitely not recommend to steam with herbs you don't know or with herbs which promote circulation because that could result in you bleeding
Yeah.
even more or your cycle getting shorter. And on the opposite, if you have long cycles, if you use hemostatic herbs, it will just lengthen your cycle even more. So you should keep that in mind. And that's why practitioners are useful, especially for the first time. And then if you have consulted a practitioner, you usually have a plan and they will tell you also for the next months and a maintenance plan for you so you can also just steam by yourself in the future. Um, yeah, and what else? Yeah, so if you don't have any issues, you can try it by yourself just to see how it is. And if you have never done it before, I would also recommend not longer than 10 minutes. And in general, with steaming, less is more because there are lots of people who deal with heat issues, like too much heat in the body, infections, inflammations, and you should not steam longer than 10 minutes because it would just increase the heat in the body. So that's a good thing to keep in mind if you want to steam on your own. But I would always recommend, if you have never done it before, like just to be sure, because with steaming there's also like much controversy in on the internet, especially. There are also contraindications which you should know about, like not steaming during menstruation and not steaming during pregnancy.
Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's an important one. So it's like with every practice, if you're not sure, call your favorite practitioner. There are a lot of practitioners in the world, so you will definitely find one. And it's also a nice experience between each other to interchange. Yeah.
That's amazing that you pointed out that there are contraindications to steaming, because if you don't know about this and you just want to steam, but let's say, for example, you want to get pregnant, but you're past ovulation and you then steam, because the steam opens up the cervix, so the fertilized egg could come out. That's why it's good
Yeah.
prior to having ovulation and sex. So it's small things that you may not think about first, but that can really cause harm. Not because steaming is bad, but because there's not, because the wisdom, the knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's always such a pity that people then discard steaming and they all say, no, I had a negative experience, so I'm not going to do it again, like I did with my infections. But then luckily I got upon Kelly Garza and that totally changed my mind. So, yeah.
Yes, I've had, like for me at the beginning, I was just using herbs that I liked. I didn't really pay attention too much to what the herbs are beneficial for, because I just went with my intuition. Now, luckily, I chose the right one back then, but this could have
Yeah.
been very worse. For example, with the blood moving herbs or the
Mhm.
blood stopping herbs, I could have completely messed up my period. So that herbs are really amazing, and there's really a herb for everything. So that's why it's important that you have a good combination of herbs that is good for what you want to achieve and is not working against you. For it's as if you would,
Yeah.
if you want to lose weight but you're drinking Schafgabe tea. That's a German herb, and that's actually
Yarrow.
causing you to
Yeah.
become hungry. So yeah.
Yeah. And there is also this type of steaming with herbs that you choose intuitively, which can work like it did for you, but you do have to be very in tune with your body um, to choose the right ones. So yeah, yeah.
So besides steaming, what is something that makes you feel feminine, that makes you feel connected to your?
Yeah, so I just love dancing. So, it's when I just feel not only most feminine, but just feel myself. Like I'm in my body. I feel the music. I sometimes get goosebumps just from dancing with the music, and it relaxes me. But it's also like euphoric. So yeah, dancing was always like since I was a child
Mhm.
a great way for me to keep the contact with my femininity. That's why I also love partner dance so much, because women actually, our organ is made to receive.
Yeah.
And that's what I find we lost in the last couple of years. And also this, I'm actually a little bit critical with the feminism
Me too.
because yeah, it depends, but I feel like it has lost its femininity. It's like very masculine approach to
Yes.
this feminism. Like, why do I have to wear pants if I want to wear a robe? You know, why do I have to wear pants? Why do I have to be like a man to be feministic? I don't know. So yes, it depends, but yeah, getting back to this receiving, it's not easy to receive, but we as women actually are conceived to receive. And every time when I feel I can receive, I feel my femininity, like this. Um, you know, when someone says to you, "Oh, you look nice today. I love your hair," or "I love your dress," and in Romania, it's like normal, but in Germany, for example, I noticed that the other person, and mostly women, just give, they're like, "Oh, thank you," and then they give you the compliment back. Like they can't just sit with the compliment you gave to them and just receive it and be grateful and say, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel good in this dress. I like it too." Or, you know, just that's what I mean with receiving. And men actually do want to give. And um, you know, this example with opening the door.
Yes.
Of course, I can open the door myself. But isn't it much nicer if he just opens it to you and you just are grateful for it and feel good about it instead of like thinking, "Oh, let me open the door. I can open the door." You know, I'm exaggerating now, but you know, it's just there needs to be like a balance, and then it's okay. Yeah.
It's also a form of I see you and I know you could open the door by yourself, but let
Yeah.
me make it a little easier for you because that's what men want to do. They feel good and in their masculinity when they feel like, oh, with whatever I do, even if it's just as little as open the door, I am I am helping my woman. I am making the path clear for her. I am
Yeah.
showing her I care. It's a little gesture, but it goes a long way. And as you said beautifully, yeah, if you want to be a housewife, then that shouldn't be in the way and shouldn't make you uh, against feminism because isn't that feminism too? If you own up to
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
don't want to make career, you want the family life, you want
Mm.
the house, the baby, the man, you want to wear dresses, you want to make yourself pretty, and also with the is it I feel like it's the armpit grow hair movement where a lot of feminists grew their hair just to protest against shaving, but what if I want to shave it for me, not for a man? What if I
Yeah.
want to shave it for
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like it depends, and there are many pathways that can be used for protesting or showing your opinion. Yeah. Um, yeah, and men like when they are needed, when they feel like you need them, because you know that's why they are here.
Yes, and
Yeah,
it's just truth that we need each other. Like the world couldn't
exactly.
keep on living if it was just men or just women. Um,
Yeah.
there is this quote I really laughed when I saw it. It said if there were only women and they would have wars, there would be no wars, just a bunch of countries not talking to each other. And we really need this balance. And yes, as a woman, as a women, we need a man, and as men, they need us because only that's how life can come. And I'm not against the lesbian or gay community. That's just this. takes the
It's just nature. That's
yes,
just nature. Yeah. So
yes. And I feel like now we're coming more back to this. It took a
mhm.
long way where women were uh, pushed down and the feminine essence was hidden, but I feel like now it's coming more back to light, and also men are becoming more conscious of this, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's also because I feel like men also discover their femininity and also balance it out. Because like back in the days, men weren't allowed to cry, or it was just a sign of weakness. And nowadays, it's normal and it's actually good
Yes,
for your feelings and for your overall health
yes.
to not suppress your needs. Yeah,
Yeah, because suppressing, that's when the health issues start. Whatever you suppress, your body's showing you in whatever way.
exactly.
And mostly for women, if you are not happy, your punani is not happy. So any sort of this balance there really shows you, I might be suppressing something. What is it I don't want to look at? What is it I don't want to feel? What is it I didn't pay close attention to myself?
Mm.
What is my body trying to show or tell me? And even for men, but then, of course, as you said, because they only talk about it when it's usually when it has already reached a kind of serious level, that's something we individually, every one of us can encourage more, like whether it is with the partner or the father or the brother, the uncle, just being more attentive.
Yeah, open and aware to what your emotional needs are and also physical needs. Yeah, that's very important. And to come back to steaming, a lot of these feelings then can just show up
Yes.
during a steam session or after a steam session. You also have like a huge emotional release
Mm-hmm.
that's happening because of your body relaxes and you notice things. You just, if
Yeah.
you're doing it mindfully and like a meditation, you really can go very deep in your emotional body and process a lot of emotions that might even not be yours, but from your family. So um, steaming is really a very cool tool to have and to try out, and it's very simple and yeah, I just love it.
Yes, that's also beautiful that you mentioned the ancestral healing that also takes place when we as women are becoming more conscious, guilt, and shame
Mm.
free of taking care of our punani womb overall body health. Because oftentimes we carry a lot of shame and guilt, and this can be passed on from generations, maybe because there was some
Mm.
sort of violence or war, whatever it may have been, it can be passed down. And then when you allow yourself to feel and to look and heal it instead of looking away and suppressing, you're healing 7 generations forward already.
That's so crazy. Yeah,
It is.
but it does makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know where, but I read like that the cells are renewing every 7 years, I think.
Mhm.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also you mentioned shame and everything. It's also something steaming helped me with because with all the infections and everything, I carried a lot of shame in my body, like, oh, what's wrong with me and why? And actually, when you have a nose infection, you don't feel ashamed. You just
Yes.
treat. So it's so, but it's like I don't know. It's like how we are.
Yes.
Yeah,
And also, when you have a nose infection, you don't feel dirty, you don't feel
yeah,
painful. It's just a nose infection. Yeah, you got it because the weather was cold or whatever. And the same thing is
yeah,
with nanny.
yeah.
Just because you have an
Totally.
infection doesn't mean that you have to be ashamed of this or like, oh, it is because I did this and this or that and that. No, no, it can happen so easily. Even it can. it can even happen like if your partner is not washing his phallus probably, and then you have an
Mhm.
infection. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's really, it's completely normal, and every woman at some point in her life has an infection, uterine problems, whatever. It's completely normal because we're just more sensitive with our punani to outside changes, and
Mm,
it's just, there's nothing shameful about it.
exactly. And it's so important. But no one tells you, like, you don't
Yeah.
learn this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always like this shame. Oh no, I have to go to the doctor and get this and this treatment, and I have to lay on the stool, spread my legs open. And
Yeah, it's like more trauma
yeah,
coming at you. Deal with this too. So, yeah. I remember I had a doctor when I had a yeast infection. It was quite every all over the place,
yeah,
and I went just to check it to know that I what it is, and I was 17, I think, or 18, maybe already 18, and I already felt like so ashamed. And then you just sit there with your legs widespread, and then he looks, and his reaction was just so unprofessional, I would say. Like he was like, oh yes, that's a yeast infection, oh yes, and going back to his desk to write me like
yeah.
the stuff they always give you, and in a couple of months you can write straight come back because you're gonna get it again. So, and yeah, it's just so hurtful, you so of course there are also like good professional doctors, and actually I really like, my wish is to work together with, that
Yes.
holistic medical care works together with Western medicine. It would be such a great win-win-win situation for all of us, because where the normal medicine, Western medicine can't go on, you can use the other one, and vice versa. So also with steaming and gynecologists, they need to work together. Like really, they need to work together.
Because yeah, you said that beautifully, because then there's this harmony that of course there are things that steaming can't help with, and it's good that we have medicine that helps, but for the case
Absolutely.
it doesn't, it can really beautifully work together. And thank you for sharing this experience that you had at a gynecologist. It was very hurtful, I can imagine. And
Mhm.
I know that a lot of women experience something similar to this. um, I I had a similar experience, but back then I was still a virgin, and then because you have this
Mm.
infection, then oftentimes you feel so ashamed because it's, I don't know where I got this. Why do I have
Yeah,
this? And the
yeah, yeah.
first thing they ask you is if you have multiple sexual partners. That's one of the first things that are being asked, and you just sit there and you're like,
No one?
it,
Jesus? Does Jesus count? I'm just making
yeah,
fun.
yeah, but that's just that's just how
Mm.
it is. That's why it's so important as a woman that you choose a good gynecologist, a woman's doctor that you really trust, who is
Yeah,
understanding, who is loving, who treats you very nice, and where you also feel comfortable in sharing what's on your heart. And yeah, basically with
yeah,
everything, but especially with your gynecologist, you have to make sure you find an understanding and good one.
yeah, yeah. It's important to feel secure and safe because it's not a pleasurable thing to do. I think no one goes to the gynecologist if they don't have to go just for fun. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And also for the pap smear, like once a year, I have heard already from women who are doing it by themselves. Like they talk to the gynecologist, or it's like more situations. They say like, okay, I'm ready. You can take the pap smear now.
Yeah.
But they are saying it, not the doctor, the patient is saying it. So
Okay.
it's another type of energy exchange, you know, if you say you're ready and not he's asking you, are you ready? You
Yeah.
know, it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like you have the power, so you decide, and makes so much sense because it's like your body, it's not his body, you know, or her body. So, and other women are taking this. I don't know how it's called. I think it has a man's name because a man invented it.
Oh, you mean the kind of
And
scissor that they use?
yes, and they take it by themselves, the pap smear. So I don't know. I think it's possible, but you do have to talk with the doctor, and I think not every doctor allows it. But I heard about these type of cases, and it's also a type of self empowerment. But
Yeah.
to do that, you also have to feel very comfortable and very good with your own body, you know,
Yeah.
because many of us don't feel that connection and don't like to touch themselves or have fear around it, or you know, there's so much things. And I just learned about the female anatomy, and at the end of the lecture there was just this guided self exploration
Mm-hmm.
which you can do. And I don't know, I just feel like you have to learn this at school.
Yeah.
Like just the techniques how you can do it, or from your mother, or from, I don't know, but I just missed this. My 16-year-old misses this. When I was 16, I wished I have, and I had a very good relationship with my mother, but we never talked about this kind of things, you know, and it's such a pity. Looking back, it would have helped me like so much. And yeah.
But the beauty is because we're sharing this already, every woman who watches it can take this knowledge,
Yeah.
pass it on her daughter, and we can pass it on our daughters, and then hopefully our daughters pass it on to
Yes,
their
please.
because
Yeah.
it it makes your life so much easier. Like being a woman does really not have to be hard.
Totally.
Beautiful.
Totally.
It can be so much easier.
Yes, yes, yes. I feel like we ourselves are so hard on ourselves, like because we inherited it, or we just grow up with this type of picture in our head. And it's such, because as you say it doesn't have to be so hard. Like it can be joyful and everything. And even birth, you know, it doesn't have to be painful. It's, I heard about orgasmic births,
Yes.
like it's possible. So everything is possible. You just, you know, maybe you just have to shift from this. Yeah, it's also a generational thing, and in our society, you know, if you watch movies where women give birth and they just scream like it's the end of the world, of course you will forever think, oh my god, I don't want to have kids, you know, or giving birth is something painful, you know.
And it's always, or mostly in the movies, it's portrayed like, oh no, don't look at it. Oh, look at it. And the men are freaking out.
So,
And it's
also,
just like, it's really not like that. Like, I watch so many birth videos, and it is really, it's so human. It's so natural. And it's not like, "Ah, this is disgusting." Like, there's things
absolutely.
on movies that are way more disgusting um, than giving
And
birth.
are shown, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I saw also a birth movie, and I was so, I had to cry. It just was like the most beautiful thing I saw in my life, I think. So um yeah, it's like just this wonder, and it
Yeah.
happened, and you're just speechless.
And also that our
I
body.
just I feel like I have to cry now thinking about it. Yeah, just I got goosebumps. Yeah.
Me too. It's because it's really like it brings you, it's like, wow, I can birth a child. Like when you, like the process, it's just amazing that your punani can stretch and your pelvis can open up so the assisted child that it comes through. And it's as a woman, you're literally the portal between heaven, so to say, with your
Yeah,
man, of course. Like, let's not forget the men; they're doing their part too.
yeah,
But with the birth,
yeah.
it's
You
just
have the organ for that. Yeah,
yes, yes, yeah,
yeah. And it's so powerful.
it really is.
Yeah.
Oh. I enjoy this interview so much. Like, it's so much fun talking to you. Like, we talked about things like that during during Essence, I remember. But it's just wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for your idea. It was your idea, so I was glad when you told me.
Yes, of course. Like when it came to the Yoni steaming part, you were the first I thought of. I was like, I have to get Diana into this. Like she's the most knowledgeable woman I know,
Mm.
personally know. Of course, Kali Gazari, like she knows a little bit more than us, a lot more. But yeah, I was like, I have to get her in.
Thank you. This was fun. Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes if I have forgot something or.
Oh yeah, please feel free to share anything that's still on your mind, something that you really want the women out there to know.
Yeah, so I think you also asked about femininity, but also sensuality
Mm-hmm.
and feeling sensual and everything. I feel like um, I'm thinking now with sex and this direction that women feel to need to feel really safe and relaxed, you know, in order to fully enjoy the whole process. So, and that takes time because I I know a lot of women who experience pain during sex, and I mean that's also it can be a lot of things, but um, it can also just be not taking the time and the space, and you know our nervous system is like all the time in stress, and men can just like go from 0 to in 1 second they're ready, you know. So but our organ has to there has to be blood pumped and warmth, and it just takes time. And yeah, I just recommend to try it out, to take your time and set your boundaries and say also no, or just say I need more time in order to fully enjoy this, you know, because actually I do think the men also enjoy it if you know what you want, and um, they want you to enjoy it, you know, in the best case scenario.
But we talk about, of course, the best case scenario of men.
Yeah.
It's so true because if a man gets pleasure from seeing you being pleasured by him,
Exactly. Yes, yes,
it's
yes,
a
yes.
beautiful circle.
Say that again, please.
Yeah, like
Literally.
a man
Yeah.
gets pleasure from knowing and seeing and feeling that he can pleasure you and that you like what is happening right now. That's the worst thing for men, when they feel like you're pretending and you're not really enjoying and you're fake
Yeah.
mourning. And that's also something pornos teach. It's like you can, it's fake mourning. You can tell, oh my god, like she's not enjoying this because she's dry AF. And that's also a thing. Like your punani is telling you, depending on the nectar she produces,
Mm.
how ready she is. So if you're not ready yet, if you're not fully wet yet, then either you use lubrication or wait until you're there and communicate that. Don't be afraid that that's a turn off. That's actually a turn on for men.
Exactly. Yeah. That's very useful information to know this, because
Yeah.
um, Yeah, no, you grow up with other ideas in your head, and then you hear this, oh, he likes it when I like it. Like, what? So, yes, and take your time, and also because, it's also bad for your punani if you continue and it hurts and it just gets stored there and your body doesn't lie, and
Yeah.
it's keeping this kind of um, Erinnerung,
Yeah, memory.
memory, and then next time it might happen again because it's stored in your system, in your muscles, in your tissues, and then you wonder, why isn't this getting better?
And
So,
yeah, and then
yeah.
also be brave enough to say which positions you like, because depending on your uterus, because that's something we also talked about, if
Mhm.
the uterus is retroverted, for of course, some
Yeah,
positions like doggy style, they hurt because the phallus is
yeah,
directly rushing into the cervix. So really pay attention to what positions are really feeling good, and there shouldn't be any sort of pain or discomfort. Yeah, that's
yeah, exactly. It's just such a pity because this is something really each of us can enjoy and should enjoy and not suffer. Also, you we suffer with a lot of things.
yeah,
Like,
that was next. Like that's
yeah, why you don't need to suffer that much. And also by doing that, that also changes you in your whole life. If you say you want this, you want this, you want this, you don't want this, here's my boundary.
mm-hmm.
um, that also changes your whole life and the energy with others. So this is self-empowerment. It comes from you, not from the outside. And that's also something I had to learn. Like, I was looking and looking on the outside. It's just much easier, if you think, oh, there's the solution is there or there. But
No, it's here.
you, yes,
Here.
and you just need to take the time and sit with you and with your emotions and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need in this situation to feel good?
Yes.
And then you sit with yourself, with your emotions, with your needs. You write it down if you so you can remember,
Mm-hmm.
and then you communicate it to everyone. It can be your man, it can be your friends, it can be at work. It's just something you need to do for your overall health. Yeah.
And that is really something that they hopefully teach later down the road in school, because
Great. Yeah.
it's essential. You put that so beautifully. Ah, I couldn't have said it any better. Like that's really what it boils down to: self-empowerment, self-consciousness, self-awareness, and also allowing yourself to explore what you like and don't like, because oftentimes you don't actually know what you like and don't like, because you think, oh, I guess I like this, or I think I should like this because I liked it back then, or my
Hmm.
mother did it this way, or everyone does it this way, so I should feel good and like with that too. So it's also a journey
Yes.
to reach.
Yes. 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 Very, very important. Yes. Very. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's also, yes, it's experimenting, and yeah, it's a process. Hmm.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful we had some really valuable gems covered in this video. Like, I knew something amazing would come up, but really, thank you so much for being so open and
Thank you.
honest and sharing your part of your journey with all the women who are watching right now. That's thank you. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, dear Madeleine. This was super fun. I enjoyed it, and yes, we just need to talk more about this,
Yes.
like with everyone.
Oh, we can make a part two and talk
Mhm.
more about some things in depth, because we only covered the surface with some topics.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm glad to.
Yeah, let's do this. I'll definitely get back to you because we're in touch anyway. And yeah, thank you for taking your time. And yeah, have a great day.
Yes, you too.
Thank you for living in your purpose.
I am trying every day.
Want to say?
I suffered enough, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lou wants to. You want to say bye?
Yeah.
I don't
Bye
know.
bye. So sweet. Oh my god. I want to eat.
Yeah, he's a cutie and he knows it.
Oh,
Okay. Talk to you soon.
bye bye.